The internet is perhaps the greatest human invention in modern human history. But how does it work? It's all ones and zeros. Everything is ones and zeros. This video is ones and zeros. Just a lot of them. This is called binary code. 0 means 1, 1 means 1, 1, 0 means 2, 1, 1 means 3, and so on. The ones and zeros are stored in something called the RAM in a computer, where each part of it has an electronic charge, positive or negative, translating into ones and zeros. But that's all good. How does your computer access the ones and zeros that aren't on your hard disk or your RAM, like this video or website? Your computer is connected to something called a local area network, which is usually a personal Wi-Fi network in your home or school or workplace. In a local area network, LAN, everything is sent through a wireless router. All the ones and zeros, the things you see on your phone or computer, they go through the router out to the wider world. The router's connected to the World Wide Web and other networks on the internet through a telephone or fiber cable. The World Wide Web is called a wide area network. That means the network covers a large area and is not privately managed. On this World Wide Web, there are many web servers that host different websites, which are at the deepest layer, all ones and zeros. Basically, the internet's a big galaxy, star, universe, whatever this is. So each very small star shape represents a local area network. That could be your network and the devices connected to that router. And then they're connected to bigger wide area networks represented by the bigger shapes. These wider area networks could be a country domain, .cn, .jp, .us, or even just the World Wide Web. But wait, how do all these different networks, different computers, different domains, how do they know how to communicate? That's why network protocols exist. They're basically common languages that allow computers and devices on the internet to communicate. They essentially dictate how these servers, routers, computers, and phones process ones and zeros to communicate. These protocols can also allow for authentication and firewalls, among other purposes. So through all of these processes, when you want to access a website, let's say bbc.co.uk/news, you type it into a web browser like Chrome or Edge. So what does the browser do? The browser client then sends bbc.co.uk/news in the form of binary code, ones and zeros, to something called the domain name server, DNS. This DNS then converts the website address to something called an IP address by mapping it. An IP address looks something like this: 212.58.244.67. Every website on the internet has an IP address behind it. After that, your computer sends a GET request to the IP address, such as 212.58.244.67 on the web server it belongs to, and then the web server sends a web page to your web browser. All of this has to go through a protocol, the TCP/IP. There's a set of network protocols that provides a complete system for sending, transmitting, and formatting data across the network or to other networks. This data usually goes through something we call a packet. The entire web page isn't sent as one piece, but rather the data it holds is split into many different packets. This is done so that different computers can load data at the same time, as data is being sent in smaller packets as opposed to larger clumps. So how does this data shown on your computer? It's represented as a web page on your computer through another protocol, the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This one loads web pages using hypertext links, such as HTML, which is a form of coding websites, hypertext markup language. And that's it. That's how your computer goes from processing the web address and then loading it. It seems complicated and long, right? But all of this happens in a matter of seconds. Millions of zeros being sent forth every second, just for you to look at the news. The internet's great. It's a wonderful thing. It's so complicated, but so easy to use.